and Mrs. Smith, I'll probably start with you because, you know, ladies first always.
Okay.
I was fascinated to learn about both of your histories. You know, Mr. Smith, Dee tells me you grew up on a sharecropper farm. Mrs. Smith, Dee tells me that you put yourself through a segregated nursing school to
Yes.
get your license. I guess I wonder what lessons you hoped Dee took from your experiences that influence him today. What lessons did you want Dee to take from your experience?
Well, I wanted him to, for projection, I wanted DeMaurice to strive, because it's out there. Whatever you want, you can have. It's yours to have. And we prepared him to stand up for himself. Don't be afraid to speak. Speak out with what you want in life. And this is how Mr. and Mrs. Mr. and Mr. Smith raised DeMaurice to do that.
Mr. Smith, he told me at one point during the interview that he has said things to these powerful NFL owners that would have gotten you hurt back in the day. To be honest, I think the direct quote was would have gotten you killed, possibly. Where do you think he learned how to find that voice, and how did you help him find that voice?
Well, I grew up on a farm, and my parents were tough. I grew up with a Baptist ministry, and my brother is also a minister. I wanted him, as a little boy, he always said he wanted to be a lawyer. So I wanted him to be that. And that, but I wanted him, if he wanted, he had to go out and get it. I would do everything I could to raise him.
Mr. Smith, your audio went out. I don't exactly know why. I stopped hearing you. I don't know. Is Dee's sister still, is DeMaurice's sister still there?
I'll give her a call.
Thanks, Alex. You're waving at us. You're waving at us. We can see your pretty faces. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't know if he can. Wave your hand. Can you hear what I'm saying to you? Okay, so you can hear us. We cannot hear you right now, and I don't know why. Yeah, that's it. Well, I don't know. Do you how about this?
Said, sorry to cut you off. She said she's gonna try to switch computers because the microphone seems to not be working.
Okay,
Hopefully.
just tell her that I'll talk to you and your sister while they're trying to switch computers.
All right, I'll do that. I'll give her another call.
Cool.
Alex, you gotta point your light like at your behind your computer. There's
What do you expect from like College Park House? Like it's not like
because I'm clearly at the Ritz here, Alex.
Elizabeth, your lighting is on point.
Thank you.
Your lighting is on point. I'm doing this from my son's room because this is the only corner of my house where I can actually get Wi-Fi, which isn't gonna like mess
That's
up.
fine. You know, we do what we have to do.
Elizabeth, let me talk to you while Alex is kind of working on that. How did you think your father balanced his work life and his
I mean, he was always traveling, but really made it a point to always try to come home, especially like if he could figure out a way to get there, like midway through dinner, if he could, come show up at our soccer games, come to Alex's baseball games. He coached us both growing up. So I played basketball, not well, but I played basketball, and Alex played every sport known to man, which is why he's now a D1 athlete and I'm not. But Dad coached us in basketball and baseball. He coached Alex's soccer team. So, he always made it a point to be there, even if, he had to take the red eye from California the night before.
Alex, was it intense growing up with D. Smith as your father?
Yeah, it was definitely intense. He definitely wanted us to achieve everything we could possibly achieve, and kind of drove us to perform at our highest ability, whether that was in school, sports. I dubbed myself as the lesser smart child than Elizabeth. So
We
he was
have our own respective skills.
yeah. So it was definitely intense. He's a pretty intense guy. So just talking to his kind of coworkers as well, like he really drives you to kind of get the most potential out of you as possible. But as Elizabeth said, I mean, you kind of hear these terror stories of like partners in law firms working these grueling hours, like pulling all-nighters and kind of stepping away from their family to advance their personal career. But I mean, growing up, he never let us see that, at least. So he always would make it a staple to come to any of our games, any come home for dinner. My mom might have not appreciated it as much, but I mean, he really never let me or Elizabeth kind of see that, and he was always there, and always a figure in our house, and just kind of a really big reason of why me and Elizabeth turned out the way we are now.
I also wonder, you're both obviously young, intelligent. Obviously, you're growing up as people of color in a remarkable time. And the NFL and the debates in the NFL are right at the center of that conversation. Do you talk to your father about the stance of the players? Do you say, hey, they should be doing more, they should be doing less? Why are you saying this? Why are you not saying that?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I mean, there's not too much dialogue about kind of what the players are doing, what kind of the purpose is. I mean, we kind of understand it. And we try not to talk to them too much about work, but we just try to understand it. And I mean, I'm 21 years old. Like I never really grew up kind of in the segregated country that my grandparents grew up in. So it's extremely different for me. So it's kind of hard to grasp how far that we've come and how much my grandparents had to deal with and how much needs to change. But kind of from a younger perspective, it's just hard to visualize or understand it because I have this perception of just only things working one way. And the last couple of years in this country kind of has been eye-opening. So I've just kind of taken the role of just trying to learn as much as possible and kind of ask questions and just kind of get different perspectives than my own, because sometimes that can be kind of blinding. So.
And I think to add on to what Alex said, part of being young and Black and being raised by a Black father is hearing the stories and being appreciative of past history while looking towards the future. So growing up, dad loves to tell stories. Papa is the best storyteller out there. And Grammy would fill in as well. So whenever we used to sleep over there, we used to hear, stories down on the farm, down home. And it was always kind of this like idyllic view of the pastoral. But when you think about it, they were poor, they worked really hard on the farm. Papa joined the Marines to get out and to, Grammy put herself through school. So as little kids, we hear those stories and it's kind of like a fairy tale, like, everything was great. And, that's just the life that they lived. But definitely when we look back on it as older people, we realize how hard they strived and how hard they had to work. So I think with that comes an appreciation of how they say.
Sorry.
It's all good. Elizabeth, have you ever disagreed with the stance your father has had to take with the players union, or said you haven't gone far enough?
I don't think we really talk that much about work-related stuff, but we disagree all the time. I mean, if you grow up in a house with a lawyer, you learn how to argue. You learn how to present a defense and, you know, how to endure cross-examination. So with every point, I have, you know, a bullet list of reasons why I believe this way. He has a bullet list of reasons why I'm wrong. My mom frequently leaves the table when we get into arguing, because she's like, I have to go somewhere else. But yeah, I think, you know, I'm younger. I'm more lean towards progressive, but that's part of it is a cultural thing. Part of it is I am not as jaded. I'm not as old. I haven't had as much work experience. So I think Dad often has to straddle a line between what he personally believes and what he believes can be done. And he, as the head of the union, he can't always espouse his personal beliefs. He has to be the representative of all the players, and that's a lot of disparate voices. That's a lot of diverse opinions. So as much as he can, I think he really tries to represent them. And sometimes that means putting his own personal beliefs on the back burner. But that's part of the job. That's, you know, the title that you take on, that's the mantle you take on as a leader, to really represent the people that you're supposed to.
Yeah, Alex, do you agree with that? Do you see things the same way?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think it's kind of hard to put his kind of personal beliefs aside, coming from like corporate law world into kind of the service union labor life. He's always been an activist for like fair, just if you see something morally wrong, like he's gonna say something, or if he just knows something is wrong, he think he's gonna do something about it. But I mean, it comes down to it is he is a service worker for the players, and I think it gets kind of lost because obviously you see these young kids signing multi-million-dollar contracts, and you don't think of them too much as kind of workers working a job rather than just performers or athletes. But when it kind of boils down to it, they're workers. They're putting their body on the line for entertainment for the rest of the country. And I love football. I mean, rest of America loves football, but they're definitely different from like steel workers, iron workers, and the wages they get paid. But it's definitely still a service job, and you're still trying to protect the rights of those workers. So you kind of got to toe a line there.
You sound like you're auditioning to be his replacement.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll see though.
And I am so happy to say I can hear Mr. and Mrs. Smith again. So hello, welcome back. I also love this camera shot even more than the last one. So I'm going to start all over if it's okay. And I want to go back to, just because I love this camera shot so much, Mrs. Smith. What is it that about your experience and what you had to sacrifice to get to where you were, did you try to impart onto your son?
You talking to me, Mrs. Smith?
Yeah, Mrs. Smith, and then I'm going to go back to Mr. Smith, and I'm going to let you start over from the beginning, Mr. Smith, because your camera shot is beautiful right now.
So ask me my question again. Oh, you're on Dad?
We can go to Mr. Smith first.
Okay.
Mr. Smith, what you were telling me about what you tried to impart from your experience.
Well, I grew up in a one-room school, and from that, I went to the part where I've only go to school when it rained. So I know I had a feeling that I wanted to do better. And my only chance of getting away from the farm was I got a call to go in the service. So I volunteered and went into the Marine Corps. And I came home, my dad asked me what I was going to do. I told him, well, I'm going to college. And he said, what? I said, I'm going to college. So I went to the high school and I talked to my principal. He said, well, Alpha, you haven't been here, but bet you have more sense than the one that we graduated. And from that, I marched in my class as the last one in my uniform. And I got home, he asked me what I was going to do. I told him I'm going to college. I did. I went to Virginia Union University, and I graduated with honor in accounting. And so that, let me say this, Elizabeth and Alex have never gone to a private school. I put them in, no, I'm sorry. They have never gone to a public school.
No, Cheryl
So-
and DeMaurice.
Cheryl,
Cheryl and DeMaurice.
no, at that time, DeMaurice had been born. I see, it's 4 years different between Elizabeth and Alex.
Hmm.
So,
No, he's talking about- I think his question was, I think what you're trying to say is there was 4-year difference between
Yeah.
Dee and myself, or?
no, it's over 4 years. It's 4 years different between Elizabeth and Alex.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so that he started out in high school at 4 years old. And he always,
No, he's in elementary school at 4 years old.
huh?
DeMaurice started in
Elementary
elementary school
school,
at
yeah.
4 years old. Take
For
your
4
time.
years old.
Take your time.
And I never shall forget, he always said that he wanted to be a lawyer. And as we processed through the year, I can't recall, but what is it that he ran for president or something?
His high school
Huh?
Student council. in high
student council, I
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, student council in high school. And I thought to myself, that was kind of a big step for a person to try to take at that time. But that's what he wanted to do. And that one thing about me, if I want to do something, I can figure out a way to do it. I have always been able to do it. By myself, I figured out how to, almost anything I can fix. And he wasn't too much of a fixer. I tell you. So, but he loved books. He loved himself some books. And I know that where we living, Mark lived across the street, would try to get him to play. And he didn't, I don't know whether he did like the hot sun or what. But he was
Making it,
how to play.
you're making it sound like your son was soft or something like that.
Well, he didn't grow up being the rough like I did. I think that he wanted to grow up, but he wanted to be able to do something that he felt good at doing.
Do you think that he learned lessons from your experience growing up that he took with him?
Yes, I think my life, when looking at my life, he didn't want to go through what I had to go through to get to where I was. Now, and when I came out of school, I went into accounting, and that he didn't want to do that. He had his mind set on law, and that he just we put him in what is this school? Huh? Oh wait, yeah.
Seminary?
He went to Cedarville College, and he graduated from there. And he came at home, and he wanted to be a lawyer. So he it went on to University of Virginia, and he studied, and he passed the bar. And his first job was in the Justice Department on
Right.
huh? No.
Then he went to a law firm after that, I think. I think he went to a law firm and then you worked with Eric Holder, right?
Well, that's a long story because he first went to the Justice Department on
Janet Reno.
Oh.
no. I had his name in my mind. John DeGennifer. Jennifer. He was he was over the Justice Department, and also went in the Justice Department, and then that he went to Janet Reno. That's the same office that not John Robert Kennedy had.
Mm.
And that he went to another law firm, and from that to another woman, and from that he went to work for Holder with the but no, Mark is his secretary. And then the last place he went, he worked in the firm that Bar. You heard that name?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bar on, and from that he went to the NFLPA.
It's an incredible story.
He had done his life, and seemed like to me anything that he want, he figured out a way. I don't know how, but he just get it. I never shall forget the first law firm that he worked for. They were doing a paper on D, and he said, D should do well because he has the ability to talk to anybody. He can fit in and make himself so he can talk.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's a
I don't
gift.
know how he did it, but it seemed to me that he didn't have to work as hard as I did.
I think he might agree with that as well. Mrs. Smith, that's a perfect opportunity to switch back to you. Tell me again, this man who, was able to accomplish all these things in the way that he did, what was it about your own experience, the work you put in, putting yourself through a segregated nursing school to get your license? What was it about your experience that you think helped shape who he became?
I would tell Dee is growing up what I had to go through while I was in nursing school working at Freeman's Hospital, and that Freeman's Hospital is named after freedom. It's now Howard University Hospital, and I was so interested in him accomplishing things, not being afraid to speak up, like I was afraid to speak up, coming back doing segregation, because if you would speak up, you would be out of whatever, you would be out of a job, or they would demote you. So I wanted him to learn how to speak out and don't shy back. And I think I instilled this in him as growing up as a little boy to adulthood. Is that answering your question?
It does, Mrs. Smith, and I'm smiling because while we were fixing your audio, I don't know if you heard, we heard Alex and Elizabeth talking about the dinner table conversations. And between all these strong opinions and big personalities, I imagine Sunday dinner is quite the event.
It is. It is.
And could I just say, we spend as parents, as grandparents, we spent a lot of time and a lot of night talking to Elizabeth and Alex. We love them. We love them as if they were our own.
And telling them stories about their father.
Yeah.
And they would be so intrigued over that. And coming from us, they knew it was the truth, not just hearsay. And we took time out to explain and read bedtime stories to them. They were just like our own. They was from one parent house to their parents' house to our parents. We were like the second parents, really, you know.
I mean, I'm just looking at their faces. They're incredible kids. And I have two kids who are not quite as old yet, but they're my pride and joy. And if they turn out even half as good as Alex and Elizabeth did, then I'm going to be so fortunate. Who does get the final word at the Sunday dinner table when everybody has a different opinion?
Yes, it's something.
Who gets the final
Who
word?
gets the final word, Mr. Smith? Is it you? Is it
No.
Elizabeth?
No,
Is it Alex?
hey,
No, you always get the final word.
I mean,
You know,
I would tell them to do certain things, but even now, and we've been married when March 31st will be 6 years. Even right now, when it comes out to the breakfast table, I say we have certain things for breakfast, but I say you better check with my wife.
we still speak and smile at each other, but you have to do that to continue to rejuvenate your marriage, you know, and smile at each other and love each other and touch each other.
Yeah, I really think mom gets the final word. That's
Yeah.
really it. She says that's enough, and then that's where it ends.
Not to throw that
Alex?
Yeah,
How long, Alex, would you agree?
I would say mom, yeah. Not to throw the guy under the table, but you know.
I mean, mom's the taskmaster. She runs that household.
The law and order of the house, so.
Sadly, she's not even here to take credit, so. Just a couple more questions. Thanks, guys. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how long have you been married?
60 years. 60 years.
It's amazing.
And love each other, and we smile at each other, and we touch each other. When I go to bed at night, I just hold on to him like it's the last leg. Because he said, "What are you holding on to me for?" I said, "Because I love you. You know, you've been with me." And because we've had a few friends who have lost their wives and lost their husbands. So I'm blessed.
You are.
I'm blessed because most of the people that grew up around me and that I knew, they're dead.
Yeah.
They're gone.
And even some of DeMaurice's friends, their parents are gone.
Yeah.
And that touches him.
Can I ask how young you two are?
Oh, I'm getting ready to tell you that. April 1, I will be 91.
God bless you. Mrs. Smith, I know I'm not supposed to ask a young lady like yourself, but.
That's all right. I am 86.
Oh, get out of here.
I am 86 years old.
You are not.
I am 86 and I feel good. When I wake up in the morning, it's the sunlight. I just feel good, you know.
And tell them about your texting skills.
Oh, my texting. I text my grandchildren. They get so tired of me texting, and I do the quotations, periods. And
You don't use emojis, do you?
Beg pardon?
You don't use emojis, do you?
I think it's
you do.
So she types out the emojis.
Yeah,
So if
she'll
you write
type out like smile.
smile or
yeah,
wink,
I take out all of that.
it counts. It counts.
and if I'll be watching a game, I'll text Alex and say, hey, we're watching this Alabama game. And I text DeMaurice and he said, you and Alex is watching an Alabama game. Is Alex there? I said, no, we're texting each other the scores of the games. You know, we're up to date with everything. Let me tell you.
That's fantastic. The only thing I want, you guys are talking to me. Are you guys in Bethesda as well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Yeah.
Yes, we're in Bethesda.
And Alex, you're in College Park.
Yep, I'm at school.
And Elizabeth, you are somewhere in the DC area?
I'm in Bethesda as well.
Bethesda, great. Thank you guys so much. I would sit around and listen to you guys tell stories all day if it wouldn't be an imposition. I've loved this so much. I'm writing the story right now. I was this morning. And so like being able to like have this conversation in the middle of me actually creating this piece, just, I can't thank you enough. The timing is perfect, just to get a sense of who you guys are. And, you know, I admire your love. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Flack. Really appreciate
Of course. Alex, thank you. I'm Eric. That's, or you can call me Flack.
it.
Most
Okay.
people call me Flack. But if you want to, if you're my friend, just call me Flack. But thank you all so much, and best of luck to all you guys. And I really hope you like the story. I really do, because I think it's going to be really nice. So,
Thank you.
all right, have a great Saturday, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Papa.
Bye, Eric.
Bye.
Bye, Alex. Bye, Elizabeth.
Bye.
Bye, love you.
Bye.